Hey, cousin.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm actually really good. Um,
Excellent.
how are you?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad.
All right, all right. We got about 2 minutes to start, so let me just say this real quick.
Okay.
You're listening to Slide Radio Uncut. This is T with TeedyThe show. Um, my podcast tonight is about Gypsy Road Blanchard. She was just released from the Chillicothe, Missouri prison yesterday
hmm
after being sentenced to 10 years in prison for hiring someone or getting someone to kill her mom.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm normally not that person to say anything, because I do believe that, um, we were we were both raised in Christian homes.
hmm
So as far as the, thou shall not kill thing, that's where
hmm
we have always stood. That's where I've always stood.
hmm
But I just kind of think that this young lady should not have gotten any time. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah. And I think she got a raw deal. I think maybe the person she got to do it should have probably got 10
hmm
years. But I don't think she thought she had a way out. Honestly, I
Wow.
really don't. Uh, do you know much about her story?
Well, I to be honest with you, cuz I basically kind of had to just scoop up what I could in a
Mm-hmm,
short period of time. Uh, but I did look into it a little bit,
mm-hmm.
and from what I read and what I gleaned, um, I kind of disagree with you a little bit.
Do you?
A
Good. I like
little.
that. You know how we are. We like that.
Well, I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
Uh, I'm not saying that she didn't have some cause on a deeper level.
Mm-hmm.
However, just by the mere fact that at one time kind of knew that her mom was doing something wrong to her or doing things wrong to her,
Mm-hmm.
I would ask, why did she seek to get help at that time? Why did she contact the authorities, child protective services,
Mm-hmm.
and get out of it? Rather than convince her boyfriend, which if you think about that, that's kind of methodical. She convinced her boyfriend to kill her mom. Now, I'm not saying that the mom wasn't wrong. She was. I think the mom, based upon what I've read, was severely mentally ill. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she had what was called, what I read, what they call a Munchausen
Yes. Yes.
syndrome
Yes.
by proxy.
Yes.
And she just, I guess, got this euphoric high
Mm-hmm.
off of going to the doctors and having practitioners fuss over her and her daughter. And she just liked it so much that she
Mm-hmm.
just kept creating these scenarios, where she was doing things to the daughter to keep going back and getting all this attention lavished on her.
Yes. Okay. Let me stop you right there for a minute and
Sure.
say you are listening to Tea with TD on Slide Radio Uncut. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you need to look it up on Slide TV Uncut. Uh, cousin,
Yes.
I get what you're saying,
Uh-huh.
and that because that part of me thinks that a little bit, but knowing what I know about having kids with disabilities, number
Mm-hmm.
one, and especially developmental disabilities, it is
Okay.
so easy to get the doctor to do what you want them to do. It is
Sure.
very, very easy. Let me say this to you from experience.
Okay.
Doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, when they first take your child in, it's you and that child.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really going to listen to you more than the child at times.
Mm-hmm.
Not really sure where she lived and how many, and I think, didn't she take her from place to place?
Well, from what I read, cousin, she basically, I think that they had something happen to a home they had lived in, and they
Mm-hmm.
had been, I think, Habitat for Humanity
Mm-hmm.
had gotten them a home somewhere out near or outside of Springfield, Missouri,
Mm-hmm.
and from what I gather, um, it was probably probably one of those suburbs outside of Springfield. Very, I wouldn't say that's completely rural area, but I would say, she, basically they didn't have a lot of close houses,
Mm-hmm.
around them. So you have to kind of see this as an isolated situation. They probably didn't have very many visitors. I think she was an only child.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I'm not quite sure, but I think
Yeah.
so. She was
And
the
I
only
know
one living in the home at the time. So yeah,
exactly.
basically.
And I know the dad didn't live there.
No, and I'm
I,
thinking she even had him fooled for a minute, right?
well, well, from what I read was he was paying child support.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think when the subject came up with when the mom and him was talking, she had told him to never mention Gypsy's real age to her. Now,
Mm-hmm.
why would somebody do that? To me, the
Because she
first,
didn't. Because she had in this girl's mind
yeah.
that this was her age, whatever she said it was,
Now,
and
see, to me, yeah, and see, to me, that would have been the first red flag. I'm just like, okay, what's going on? You know?
as a dad, as a parent, I
Yeah,
think I would have
yeah.
asked myself or asked, that person, why are we doing this?
Uh-huh.
What's the purpose of it? But she had everyone also convinced that she was developmentally delayed,
Mm-hmm.
which means she doesn't know much.
Okay.
I mean, my son, Michael, is developmentally delayed as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I like I said, I know for a fact when you tell a doctor something, they're gonna most likely listen to the parent.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, she was I get the whole Munchausen thing. I understand what it means. I understand what it entails.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't feel like she should have any time for this. I can see her part in saying if I met her today and she said I didn't know what to do,
Mm-hmm.
I would believe her.
Okay.
Because if a person has you that controlled,
Mm-hmm.
under that much control, you're not going to know what to do. I mean, she gave her stuff to where she couldn't walk. She gave her medication that caused her not to be able to walk.
Wow.
So she was in a wheelchair. Or at least she had her thinking she couldn't walk very far. She's in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of get it. I kind of get, I don't know. My heart goes out to her.
But it was methodical, Hope, because she didn't stab her herself. I mean, she
I
coaxed
get
the
that part
boyfriend.
too. I get
Yeah,
that part
and
too.
now I understand what would drive someone to that.
Mm-hmm.
What her motivation would have been. Do I agree with it? Only because, like I said, she, rather than seek getting help, where she would say, hey, of course, nothing's going to erase what the mothers did,
No.
but say, hey, I need to get out of this situation. She knew enough to know that, hey, what this mom's doing isn't
Mm-hmm.
right to me. And to me, the minute she was aware, and who knows how long that may or may not have been, I'll be like, I got to leave. I got to get out of here. Rather than stay and say, okay, let me convince my boyfriend to extinguish my mom's life.
Did it?
And now he's in jail for
For life.
life.
For life.
And where
I don't
she could
think
have
he
just
should have
got
got
out of
life.
there.
I think
Yeah.
he should have got 10 years. I think she should have got time served in jail.
Yeah.
I think she should have been, I think that therapy for her and even maybe a little time in an institution for her should have
Yeah.
been mandatory.
Yes.
I think that should have been her sentence, part of her sentence. I
Yes.
think that because I can see where she could feel like she didn't have a way out. I can see that.
Okay.
I can see where she could have been, you know, when he killed her, was she able to walk? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Was she able to walk out of the
Oh,
house, or did she have to be wheeled out of the house?
uh-huh.
Because if somebody is feeding you medication, that's gonna, I think one of them was like an animal tranquilizer,
My gosh.
and yeah, and it can cause, you know, paralysis or whatever else these things cause. I mean, I just
Sure.
I can see her being manipulative enough to make this woman think, no matter where you go, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna
Gee.
call the authorities. I'm gonna make them bring you back here. I'm gonna do all these things. And I know how people who can manipulate work.
Mm-hmm.
I know what they say. I know how they work. The narcissism behind everything she did. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, didn't she got some help to take her somewhere like the Disney World or something?
Yeah.
You know,
she
was very. Go ahead.
Yeah. The mother used, from what I guess the daughter was saying a little bit, that the mother, while they were there, while she was like talking to doctors and different ones, she was very adept in terms of medical terminology and other things that she was feeding the doctors. Now, like you said earlier in the conversation, that doctors pretty much lean on you as the parent, you know, since the child is younger, you know, for, you know, like what was going on with the child, what the symptoms are.
Mm-hmm.
However, I would think that the doctors would run, you know, pretty in-depth tests.
I would think,
and so
think
forth.
that too.
You know, so
because not only was she given her medication, from what I read, she was also she had like a little over 30 surgeries, I think it said.
wow.
Somewhere I read like a bunch of over 30 unnecessary surgeries. Now, see, that's what I have to say.
Yeah.
Unless one of those surgeries was a hysterectomy or something, that's what I have to say is, where's the doctor's mind?
Hey,
Because,
well, I mean, I'm wondering if this is, and I'm not trying to be prejudicial in this what I'm going to say, but they were in kind of a country part of Missouri.
Well, yeah, you know, where we grew up.
I hate to say that because I think that there's corruption everywhere.
There is.
You know, I mean, even in the medical industry.
There is.
They had to at one time. I mean, it was so bad in terms of stealing and embezzling money in Medicaid that they had to get Medicaid's quote unquote police. They had to police it because you had doctors and nurses that were working hand in hand that were making all these fake claims and doing stuff, you know, just to pad their own.
Well, I was going to say, you know, because they will do that. I mean, I've been studying medical billing and coding for a minute, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
doctors do this? Yeah. And you'll see it on TV. Well, there was another doctor that just sentenced him, I believe, because he just kept giving surgeries and killing people like they had cancer and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And you know, where we were raised in the town that I live in now is very small. It's not as small as it was when we were kids, but it's still small, you know. And you know, I'm gonna be truthful. Sometimes all I gotta do is call and say, listen, I got a cold, I need X, Y, and Z, and I get it. You know, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time. No. It doesn't happen for everything. Right. I mean, I had to go in the other day, last week, because for this surgery that I'm having. She's like, I got to see you before I send off this paperwork. I said, okay. But I mean, on some instances, it is because I think it is because maybe she lived in a smaller place.
Yeah.
And maybe, there's a possibility that she could have flip-flopped doctors quite often.
Oh,
you know, and it depends on how close the biggest place is to them, the biggest city is to them.
Right.
But I don't know. I hate to say it because I know how we were raised, and one of our biggest things is like thou shalt not kill, and I
Sure.
get it, and I know it's bad. And the boyfriend, he got a raw deal.
Uh-huh.
He's in prison for life, and now she's out going home after like 8 years
Uh-huh.
to her family, and she married somebody else. She didn't marry the boyfriend. That would kind of bug me a little bit too. But I think that, and I don't. We should look at his intelligence level as well.
Sure. Now,
Because
well, I'll tell you what, Hope. This is, and I love conversations like this. Now, I don't disagree with you on some level.
yeah,
And I'll tell you why. There are situations where a person would want to execute private justice.
mm-hmm.
Okay? Private justice, basically what's the Bible say? What is it?
Eye for an eye, something like that.
An eye for an eye.
Yeah.
I mean, in this situation, Mom, you basically destroyed my ability to live before I even have a chance to.
Yeah.
You've destroyed me for life.
Yeah, she did.
There's nowhere I can go in this lifetime, where I won't be haunted every day about the things that I allowed you to do to me.
And I can't say we can't even say, in my opinion, we can't even say she allowed it.
No.
Because she was a kid when it started.
Sure.
And I think that's where the sympathy for me comes in. She was a child when her mother started doing this to her. So she had just grown up knowing only what her mother says.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And your mom is supposed to be your protector.
Your protector,
yes. To be your keeper.
Yeah.
And again, the father was not there, and there was no other children. So really, you have an isolated situation.
Yeah.
That breeds this kind of behavior. See, like us, Hope, the way we were raised, we had like a community around us of people who would be caregivers and just, would like, okay, are you okay? I mean,
we live in
people that would look in on you.
We lived in such a small community, and most likely bigger than where probably they came from. I don't know, but also because of who we are in our community, everyone knew who our parents were. Everyone knew who your dad was. Everyone knew who my mom was.
Right.
So we really couldn't get away with anything.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And also, we were both in the public school system, so it would have been difficult for, like, if she had been in public school, it would have been difficult for her mom to do all that.
Right. Now that was now it's a trying school system.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's not.
And I won't go any further than that.
But I mean, it would have been difficult for her mom to fool them the whole time. I mean.
Yeah.
And that's where my sympathy comes in too, is that, because I homeschooled my kids, some of them, but I never in my wildest dreams as a parent would I have ever even thought about doing those things to my kids.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't have, because you don't have that kind of heart, huh?
No. No.
This lady would use homeschooling as a tool to act out.
Yeah.
And do all those crazy things that was being done.
That's another thing too. I mean, I get the whole, she had a disease, and I think that we label everybody and everything all the time in this country today. I get mom had a disease.
Yeah.
But come on. Some of this stuff was strategically done.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. And like I said, we're free to really talk here.
It's called Uncut.
I think that this is a very deep rabbit hole. And I'm saying that I don't think the mother was the only one complicit. I think you got to question those doctors.
You have to.
And even on some level, that girl, once she started talking to,
I get it when she found out. when
once
she
she started
found
talking to the boyfriend,
she talked to the boyfriend on the internet. She met him on the internet,
right?
And then I guess at some point she was gonna force her not to talk to him so much on the internet,
Okay.
and that's how they got together.
Yes.
But I cannot not feel sorry for this girl.
I understand. I totally, and like I said again, on certain levels, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Really
but like I
feel
said,
sorry for her
those
boyfriend.
doctors, those doctors should have known something was being done to that girl.
The surgeons,
something
at
should have
least,
came up in the blood test. Something should have came up in the urinalysis.
But
that she's being drugged induced. Something should have came up.
If things come up, probably mom would just go somewhere else. However, I agree with you that you have to put some responsibilities on these doctors because, like for one thing, I think one of her medicines come from an animal doctor.
Okay.
Some of, if I'm not mistaken, what I saw and what I read somewhere.
And that should have came up in the test, huh?
I
should have came up
think
in
it
the
would.
test in the blood.
I would think it would. Because I know my kids always had to have blood tests, everything they took.
Well, see, I don't know what her financial status. I assume she had Medicaid.
She had to have Medicaid.
Like that.
She was supposed to be poor, right?
She goes in there with Medicaid. What do you think they want to do? They're going to want to run it through without making a lot of noise, just so they can bill the Medicaid, like you were talking about medical billing, and just make a mound of money off this woman.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's, I mean, I know that most likely some of the stuff she was getting her was kind of shutting down her body.
Yeah.
So I can see maybe 1 or 2 surgeries coming from that, but 30. No one has 30 surgeries.
I've seen them have autopsies for less.
Yeah.
Girls going through. That's what I'm saying. It don't make sense. That's what I'm saying. It don't make sense. That's what I'm saying. In a small area like that, they must have been going to small town doctors.
And the doctor listened to the mother.
Where they're listening to the mom and they're not doing the testing.
Yeah.
That's required. They're just passing the buck off, giving her some medication, and then when she needs some kind of procedure, they'll go to the hospital local surgeon.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, this is a crazy rabbit hole.
It is. It really is. I mean, but for the life of me, I can't blame the girl. I just can't. I just feel like that she, in my mind, possibly she felt she had no other way out but to do this.
You don't feel she had any other recourse?
I don't think, in my mind, looking at this in her shoes, your mother has kept you in a chair until you were in your late 20s. She's manipulated you. She's had you thinking left is right and right is left. I don't see, and I'm probably wrong. God forgive me. I can't fault that child. Now the boy, I definitely feel sorry for him. I believe he was drawn into something, quote unquote, by love.
Yeah.
That he, felt like, I love this girl or this woman and she wants out and I'm gonna help her get out. And the girl the woman is, Gypsy's able to speak. She can talk.
Sure.
So who knows what she told him and how she told him, because she wanted out. I can't fault him. I think he should have probably got 10 years. Yeah. For being,
maybe not 10, but maybe like 12 or 15.
Okay, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna say 12 or 15 because look, you are older, so I'm gonna say 12 or 15. But I don't think she should have served any time behind bars. I think she should have, if anything, she should have been sentenced to a hospital to get like a psychiatric hospital. Because this would mess me up for the rest of my life. Yeah. I'm sorry. And I read where she is now married. She married
some dude from Louisiana.
Yeah, she married a teacher, a special ed teacher from Louisiana. And they want to have children together. I don't.
I would recommend that.
Yeah, because you know, I can't
I'm telling
see.
you.
I don't think that's a good idea right away.
No.
I think that if she has not undergone, and I don't know much about the prison system in Chillicothe, of course, because I've never really been there. So, but
Chillicothe.
I don't know how much therapy she got in there,
Nothing
how much
against
good therapy she got.
Chillicothe, but again, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying. It's,
I don't know. I don't know about the hospital, the
yeah,
prison there, but I
yeah,
don't think she got what she needs there. I think she's have to undergo a lot of therapy
yeah,
before, if she's able to have children, because I don't know, that might have been one of the surgeries her mom had done on her.
yeah,
I don't think that she should be able to have any for a minute, because I don't think it's
yeah.
wise. I think that children can trigger things in you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this young woman probably has a major case of PTSD. And,
Yes.
and knowing that her having a baby right away may not be a good idea. I think
No,
her being around any children right away may not be a good idea.
no, I just don't think it's conducive, just from a generational standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
With all that she experienced with the mom and the high level of dysfunction in that household, I wouldn't recommend children. I know you can't, like, through a court order, recommend that she gets some sort of, procedure done to where she can have kids.
Unless her mom's already
But
done that.
well, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But I mean, it's just, I would hope that that they don't, until her and her husband have spent, some real time, maybe some
I
years
I think that
together.
until she has spent some time in a chair, not
Yeah.
being funny,
Yeah.
but her having I mean, can you imagine? I can imagine my own self just
Mm-hmm.
walking down the street, and then there's this kid in a wheelchair. That might bring back a flashback of some kind. You
Absolutely.
know, I,
I
I
mean, she's
mean,
going
I'm
to
not talking
be
about
triggered for,
humongous triggers. I'm talking
yeah.
about little triggers, like things like that. Just look at them as, oh, a cute little kid, or, oh, too bad the child's in a wheelchair. She
Yeah.
might go crazy or just collapse or something.
Oh,
I
no
would
doubt.
love if it, to be able to talk to her and ask her what her plans are and how she really feels.
Absolutely. But
Yeah,
do you think she would be, Hope, do you really think she would be transparent?
I would hope that I would make her feel that comfortable that she was transparent. I hope that she would be
I
that.
think you would be able to. I think you would be able to. But again, I don't know. I mean, just in reading her story and everything, there's just that tingly sixth sense in me that just thinks that there's just more to it than this. There's just kind of a rabbit hole situation and connection that just isn't right. With the mom, which now is deceased due to being murdered, and then the daughter, just staying there, continually
I don't think
taking
she had
pills,
a
not saying
choice.
something.
I don't. I
You don't think she
just.
had a
I
choice?
don't think,
I mean, she
knowing
could have
how the
called the police.
system is. Let me just say it
Yeah.
this way.
Okay.
I haven't worked in the system since probably before the last 4 kids that I got, probably
Okay.
about 5 years before
Yeah.
that. And so,
Yeah.
but I will say this, that knowing how the system is in
Mm-hmm.
Missouri at times, not all the time, but
Yeah.
at times, depending on who you are, is depending on how you're treated. I know that there are some people who can say, "Hey, I've been molested," and that person goes right to jail. And then there's
Uh-huh.
others who can say it, and because the parent has a good story, or because of the parent's standing, or because of whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I think maybe her knowing how to get sympathy
Uh-huh.
from the doctors and from the psychiatrists and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I just don't see where she thought she had a choice. And honestly, and I must be truthful to say this:
Mm-hmm.
if everything she has said about her mother is true, I'm gonna be truthful. I'd have done it. I'd have either had somebody do it or try to do it myself.
But
you know?
you know what, Hope? You have to also see, and from the footage I watched on her earlier today, is that girl was a little bit of a thespian. You know, she
Well, they
was
are.
told by the mom to
Yeah.
act, you know, to pretend, you know, to make, don't let nobody know you can
Yeah.
talk, or if you do talk, you know, have everybody think that you are this way or that way, or
So do you see
you're
where her
confined to this
mom,
wheelchair.
so can you see where her mom manipulated her to the
Sure.
point where she even had her lying and saying stuff?
Yep.
If
And
you can do that to somebody.
that's why it's so important to be a critical thinker and dig and do your research and
But what
homework.
if you've never been taught to be a critical thinker?
Well, I hear
If
you.
your entire life, all you're taught is
Yeah.
do what I say, how I say do it. Don't you go in here acting, I'm saying
You're just saying that this is all she's been subject to.
that's it.
She's never
If that's all
had
you've been,
anybody else to,
her own
she's never been able to
dad,
draw anything from anyone
her own
else.
father had limited communication,
Yes.
limited seeing her,
Yes.
contact with her.
Uh-huh.
So her own dad was fooled all this time.
Yeah.
This
I mean,
woman was good at what she did.
which is why she was able to act out, because she was so isolated.
Yes.
She
And she
probably
did
didn't
whatever her
even
mom
have
said do.
neighbors that were around. She probably didn't even interact with neighbors,
Probably
I bet you.
didn't. I mean, the mom probably did interact when she wanted to.
Yeah, when she wanted to.
Oh, I just need a break. I've seen people like that. I need a break.
Yeah.
5-minute break, and then she's back. If that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I hate to say this too, but sometimes Munchausen disease is a disguise of someone who just wants attention.
Exactly. I'm telling you, this is quite a situation, where, basically, I mean, I don't know, I'm like you said earlier, to allude to, I see the on a certain level why the girl should feel vindicated, and I would say it was a crime of passion by the boyfriend. He felt a certain. He was in love with her, and he felt he had to be her knight and do what he did. However, hopefully they'll negotiate, lesser time for him. But I think that she needs, psychological care.
She does.
I think she should go to some facility
or
clinic where she could get, thoroughly evaluated for some time, and then decide if, she can, acclimate herself back into, society.
And do you think she'll ever be able to
truly
fit in?
I truly don't.
I don't either. I mean, I pray that she does. I mean, I really, because I think she deserves happiness. She deserves a chance to be happy and to understand who she is. But can you imagine everything she has to learn?
She's got to remember that every day.
And how she has to learn how to react with, how to interact with people. Yeah. I read somewhere where she said she felt freer in prison than she did with her mom.
Because she was away from all that madness.
Yeah, she said she was freer in prison. Now, most of my children that I have will tell you the same thing, because I'm strict. but I mean, they have their own mind,
Sure.
But I couldn't imagine feeling like I am freer in prison than I'm with my own parent.
Wow.
Freer in prison, behind bars, locked up, can't go to the bathroom unless they let you go to the bathroom, basically.
Wow. Well, the one thing I admire about you, Hope, is that you encourage your children to express themselves and to, to express themselves within their personality.
I do more now with these last 4 than I did with the first 5.
Okay.
But yeah, because the last 4, that's why I tell people, please excuse the noise in my house when I'm on here, because you might hear the F-bomb fly off at
Whoa.
somebody or something, you know. But
Uh-huh.
you know, but I think that I had to learn too that every person has their own individual personality.
Yes.
And you know, I if you asked my second to the oldest son what he thinks, because one day I told him, I said I'm very proud of you for your accomplishments and things.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if I've done anything that you feel that harmed you when you were little, I want to apologize. And he said,
Oh.
well, he said, Mom, then are you really proud of me? And I said, what? He said, everything that happened when I was a kid is why I am the way I am today. And he said, if you're proud of me, then you can't say that, you know. And it kind of done something to me for a minute. They know how to make me cry, you know.
Oh.
But I said, okay, I won't ever say it again. And I really haven't. But I mean, for a child, and we joke, well, I'm gonna say this, we joke about, you know, when did you get your own mind? And they'll tell me, when I left your house, I had my own mind, Mom. You know, I've always had one, but now I can express it. Now these four, they express all the time. That's a little too much for me. But I could not imagine being in a home with a mother or a father where you're a caged animal, to the point where you're being tied down in bed, to the point where you're being drugged, you know, and the mother is taken to a psychiatrist, telling them you need X, Y, and Z, because basically, really, the parent fills out the questionnaire and all the symptoms that the child has, and then the doctor goes from there. Don't get me wrong, they'll see the
Right.
children, and as they get older, they will see them by themselves. But if you're supposed to be developmentally delayed and you've been taught to act a certain way, when that doctor sees you, he's going to see you for who you are, supposedly who you are.
Right.
And that's why it is hard for me to say that I just feel like she shouldn't have served any time. I just,
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think on some levels I can concur or agree with you. On some other levels, I think that it was just a little methodical in convincing the boyfriend to stab the mother. I think that
well,
she
he stabbed
could.
her like, what, 17 times, or I don't know, seven
Yes.
times, something like that.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I know
that's a lot of anger.
exactly.
So he
And
was very angry for some reason.
yeah.
So you
Yeah. And
have
of
to go
course,
back then and look at his mentality too.
right. And he indicated, I guess, when they confronted him or they interrogated him, he said he only did it because she convinced him to do it.
She
You know?
did.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, I
on
mean,
that part, you know, you have to say, yeah, okay.
yeah.
If did he do it the very first day she asked, or did he do
Uh-huh.
it, 10 days later? You have to figure that out too.
Right.
I just think that these two young people, well, they're, older adults now,
Right.
but I just think these two people, I think they got a raw deal. I think they
Yeah.
both did. And unfortunately, I hate to say, her mom, I'm sorry she's dead. I will say that.
Right.
But I just don't think the woman thought she had a choice. I think she'd been manipulated so long. I think that she had been convinced of her own illnesses that were not even really there,
Yeah.
you know. I
Well, you
think,
could talk. A person could talk themselves into. I mean, I mean, you could talk yourselves into believing that a lie is the truth.
mm-hmm.
If you thoroughly convince yourself hard enough, you can believe and convince yourself, on some level, something's wrong inside. But if you say, okay, I'm going to convince myself that, what I'm doing is okay. When you go and break it into, somebody's house,
Yeah.
hey, it's okay to do that. Now, mind you, am I stealing because I'm hungry and I'm destitute and I'm on the street? In this day and time, there's shelters, there's soup, there's pantries, there's a whole lot of different things. Maybe not so much in a smaller area. Of course, I don't breaking in somebody's house, but there's other ways that you can find food.
Yeah.
But, you know, you could talk yourself into saying, oh, it's okay to do this. No, you're putting yourself and the people that are in that house in harm's way,
Yes.
you know.
And
So,
I think that's another thing too, is that I have to keep that in mind as well, is that there may have been another way. This may not have been the best way.
yeah.
But I still can't fault her for doing it. I don't know. And hold on for a minute, cousin.
Sure.
Everybody out here, what do you think? Do you think that this woman should have served time for having her mother killed after her mother basically took her life from her for the first 20 some odd years of her life? She got 10 years. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison for, I guess, murder for hire. Do y'all think that she should have served some time? I don't know. Speak up. You think she should, do you think she should have served some time? I just don't see it. You're listening to Tea with TeedyThe on Slide Radio Uncut. And if you're watching on YouTube, it's on Slide TV Uncut. And he just said over 200 other platforms. So
right.
I don't even know those platforms yet.
Loving it.
And I'm here today with my cousin, Reginald Jackson. We are
having me.
First cousins. We played football together.
No doubt.
Baseball and basketball.
Yep.
So we love these kind of conversations.
Love
and we honestly do. And I think if you've ever been to one of our family dinners, you would see that somebody's always going to be on the yes side and somebody's going to always be on the no side. So
no doubt.
Yeah. But he has stood his ground to say, no, he doesn't think she should have done this. Look at that. It says Berlin, Germany. I'm not even going to try. Falkenstein. Can you see that down there?
Berlin, Germany. Falkenstein, Saxony, Germany.
Yeah.
Hey, how about that?
I'm
hoping
glad everybody's my dad lives in Germany somewhere.
See, I'm telling you, get some love out there, home.
Yeah.
Cross seas.
Yeah.
Overseas. So I'm telling you, thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
And this is IC, the one putting all that up. I believe he's he's a station owner.
Yeah.
I don't know if he owns it by himself, but he does own it with his.
Sir.
And there's a big group of Slide, part of the Slide family, and I love their energy. They have our kind of energy. Excellent. They do.
Yes.
Yeah, I love their energy.
That's
and I just want to say this too. It's a Black-owned radio station.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Hey.
Yeah, I have a friend that says.
That's what I like.
Yes, and I have this friend. My friend said, "Does he know you're Black? Because you don't sound Black." And I said, "You need to stop." But yeah, I love it. I love this. But
excellent.
So I feel like she should not. In New Jersey too. Yeah.
Jersey.
Yeah.
All right.
I know.
Jersey
in the house. Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like she should not have gotten any time. I feel like her sentencing should have been, if anything, she should have went to a psychiatric hospital for a few years and got out and had mandatory. I mean, like her probation should have been therapy. That should have been her probation. I don't think that she should have got anything.
Yeah.
The boyfriend, I think that they should have took in consideration that, let's just be real, if she's been around a manipulator, it probably wasn't hard for her to manipulate him either.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, and truthfully, like I said earlier, she's a thespian a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit of an actress.
Yeah.
Which, of course, the mother, she was there to kindly, I mean, who knows what was going on between her and the daughter in terms of her just inundating the daughter saying, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to be this way, you need to be that way.
I agree with you on that. I will agree with you on that because that's what.
You know what the sad part of all this is, guys? Who knows if this is isolated? I mean, this scenario could be going on in other homes.
Baby, it does. I
And
mean,
that's sad.
have you not seen the stories where, and I have to say it like this, foster parents, adopted parents taking these kids, lock them in a room, barely feed them or don't feed them.
Oh gosh.
And then one child escapes and saves all the children. Or, you know, somebody comes in and happens to see something or smell something, or look up at the man who took his daughter and locked her in the basement.
There was
and had kids.
The lady I saw on, what is that, Elon? I know they used to call it Twitter, so I'm still using Twitter.
You know, he locked her in the basement, had kids by her.
Yeah.
So this stuff really goes on. So when I say,
there was a lady that I was looking at a story on Twitter where she shot, looked like these kids could have been more than 8, 9, somewhere in that neighborhood. They were small. I'll say it like that. She shot her 2 children. Shot them. I mean, what kind of mind could conceive of doing something like that?
The same kind of mind that would drown them in a lake in their own car and blame a black man on it later. I'm not trying to be funny. There are some really diabolically crazy people out here.
Yes.
And they have kids. And unfortunately, their kids are having things done to them that are almost indescribable, or mostly are just so far out that sometimes I have a hard time believing it. It's like, you did what? You know, people see you have 9 kids get into a car to go to the store, but they don't see these 9 kids doing anything else.
Oh, I'm telling you. And you know what? I mean, I'll say this, and it's really hard to do this all the time, but I would say in this day and time, hey, we got to be more discerning. Of our, and more aware of our environment
and the people around us,
and the people around us and where we go. Now, I'm not talking about being a Karen. I'm not talking about saying, okay, I see somebody dressed in, you know, a post office uniform that I don't normally see, that's black or brown or whatever the case may be, and I'm going to call the police. I'm not talking about things like that, but I'm saying you see it something that's just extremely suspicious, you know, that just don't seem right. I'm saying that those are the things we need to be aware. Now, am I saying call the police all the time? Well, use your discretion on that. But I'm saying that we need to be strongly aware of who and who and what we hang around, because everybody out there, like that's like the, you know, the wolf in sheep's clothing. You know, you have to be aware. Everybody out here ain't a sheep. Now, everybody out here ain't a wolf, but everybody out here certainly isn't a sheep. So we just have to be, and I'm talking to myself even, you know, just be more discerning and more observant, more aware, you know, and just, you know, just be more cognizant of who and what, you know, who and what's around you.
And look at people. I mean, don't be afraid to. I think one of my things is that we have to stop being so closed where people are afraid to speak up and ask questions.
Yes.
Because when we think about her, you know, there had to been time. There has got to have been at least one time when a red flag should have went off somewhere seeing this one with this girl, whether it be at the pharmaceutical place, you know, the pharmacist, whether it been a doctor, even a neighbor or a person in the same city. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I kind of feel for the people who were around her that didn't know that this girl was okay, because they were totally fooled.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people. I don't like to be fooled.
Neither do I.
No, I mean, I will say this: we have a mutual acquaintance who is going through some things right now because they kept sending their grandchildren somewhere, and this person was molesting their grandkids. And I'm like, but you didn't know not to send them over there, you know? I mean, I feel bad for her, and I really feel bad for the kids, because of the situation that they're in right now. But well, I'm gonna say it like this. I told her, I said, you cannot blame yourself if you had no clue. You can only blame yourself if you knew if you thought, if something clicked in your head and said, this isn't okay,
right.
then I can see it. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I have these teeter-totter feelings about certain things. And this subject, and there's been many other subjects, hey, cousin, that have made me feel the same way. Let me see if I can bring you up real quick before we have to sign off, okay?
Okay.
Hold on, let me see if I can bring her up. Because this is
Sure.
pretty much up her alley.
Okay.
Because she's a social worker.
All right.
Yeah. So we are talking about, are you there, cousin?
Gypsy.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Hello.
Hey, this is
Hey.
hey, Reg, this is Sonia's daughter.
Okay.
Her oldest one, right? Are you the oldest daughter?
I am. Hold on, I'm gonna turn my camera off.
You're fine. Yeah, this is her oldest daughter. So since you're a social worker, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
So Gypsy Rose Blanchard got out of prison yesterday. Do you know who she is? The girl who had her mom killed because her mom had Munchausen's and kept her in a wheelchair and had her thinking, had people thinking she was crippled and crazy, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I feel, no, let me just say it this way. Cousin Reginald feels that, well, tell her how you feel. Let me just let you do it. Tell her how you feel.
Well, I basically, I don't feel that the girl is absolved from guilt. I feel that the minute she was aware of the things that the mother was doing to her, I felt that she should have sought to get help, rather than to, basically persuade her boyfriend or person of interest to stab the mother. I think she should have tried to get out. I'm not saying that erases the thing that the mother did, but the mother's going to be held accountable and will get her karma, on that. But which, incidentally, she did. But
did the mom die?
The mom,
the girl's boyfriend killed her. Yeah, he stabbed her to death.
Was stabbed, but again, his life, he has no life now. He's in jail for life without parole. So,
now
my thoughts. Years.
I feel that she should not have to serve any time in prison. I feel that she should have got time served with her jail sentence. I feel that she should have had, if anything, she should have been put in a psychiatric hospital. I feel that they should have gave her many years of mandatory of therapy.
So did she? So you mean the daughters she did time?
She did. She got 10 years. I think she did 8 of the 10.
Okay, so this is the thing that I have an issue with.
Go ahead.
I feel like, for one, I agree. I feel like she should have they should have put her inside a mental hospital. I feel like, again, this stems from her mother. Her mother, as clearly as you can see, she suffered from mental health issues. And it trickled down this generation. So I feel like her going to jail and spending time, I feel like they should have helped her mentally, because now she's out. But moving forward, and married.
Yeah, she got married while she was incarcerated.
It's going to be a never-ending cycle with mental health.
Yeah.
Never.
That's how I feel. That's why I feel like putting her in prison. But then because I did prison ministry when I was younger, and I feel like half the men that I saw that was in there didn't need to be in there. They need some help, but they need to be in prison, But I feel like putting her in prison really didn't help her. Now, she did say that in prison she was freer. She felt freer in prison than with her mother.
She was right. She had a pen pal. That's how she met her husband.
Yeah, she met her husband in prison. Yeah. Wow. He's a teacher. He was a teacher. He was a special ed teacher out of Louisiana.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was she a general population or in
probably
solitary?
I don't know. Probably though, most likely. I don't.
This is the thing though. This is
until Chillicothe is.
Yeah.
This is the thing, though. This is the thing. I feel like I agree. I think that no. I feel like she should have got help instead of taking a step to killing her mom. She should have said something.
But
I agree.
could she say something? Who's gonna
She
listen
should
to her?
have.
But who's
But
gonna
you know
listen
what?
to her?
This is the thing. Okay, this is the thing. After so many times, somebody's gonna hear something. I don't care how many times you say it.
Right.
Somebody's gonna be like, you know what? After the 12th time this girl has called in, this girl has said something. We need to investigate this.
Exactly.
And then she could have been like, you know what? If doesn't nobody want to save me, I'm going to kill my mom. I'm going to hire somebody to do it. I bet you somebody would wake up then if she would have said that.
Take a visit, huh?
I
But did she,
bet you somebody would have said that.
I guess I feel differently because I think that her mom was manipulating her from the time she was a child. And to me, that's like how molesters do their kids.
But
From the time
but
a child from the time that person is a little kid. I'm sorry, what?
She learned it from the master. She learned how to manipulate.
Well, yeah, but I mean, from the time that young person, haven't you ever seen kids that have been molested and they don't never tell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was that kid.
See, I didn't know that. They don't never tell.
A whole different conversation.
We're gonna have that one. We
That's
are going to hear that IC. We're going to have that conversation.
That child feels that at first, that child, depending upon their age, you know, that child feels that they're being endearing to that person that's doing that to them.
Correct. As a child that's dealt with it, you think it's okay. And I was just a child.
So when did you tell?
I did.
How old were you?
I let my daddy die.
So you
I let my daddy die, and I did not tell him that it was somebody in the church.
So you never told your dad?
Never told him.
You didn't tell anybody else?
My sisters.
And that's it.
That's it. My mama doesn't even know.
And now,
I pray
to God
she don't listen to this. I'm 34.
34 years old, and you're just now telling it right now. Now, do you understand why I say what I say? When a person is groomed from a child to be a certain thing or a certain way, they never let it go.
But this is the thing. I held it because my daddy would have killed them.
Well, I know that.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I remember your daddy.
I tell you something. If y'all ladies don't mind me saying this real quick, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Go
when
ahead.
I was a child, and I'm just trying to be discreet. I'm not going to mention names, but when I was a child, my mom left me at church while they went to church. I had a cousin, you know, who touched me inappropriately, and I never told anybody about it until later on in my adulthood. My wife and maybe only one other person knows.
Yeah,
and
my
if when I would go to family reunions and stuff, I would see them, and I couldn't stand to look at them to this day. You know, because I'm like, I remember what you did.
Yes, I was the same way.
It burned in my head still to sometimes even when
you didn't tell anybody.
But no, that's not it though. This is
I should have.
But my point though. My point is you didn't tell anybody until you were an adult.
I was wrong for that. I was wrong.
No,
I didn't know
that. You're wrong for that at all. I don't think so. No, really don't. I think that everyone handles things differently. Yeah. And there are things that's, you know, I don't think that you were wrong.
This is the thing though. I wish I would have said something, because now when I had children, I was so like, nope, you can't go, you can't stay, you can't go to church, you can't. Nope. And I had to protect them. I felt like I had to protect them because of what happened to me. So I regret that, because now that they're older, they're like, Mom, dang, like, why? You know what I mean? They couldn't stay nowhere.